this key here, it's not much to look at. It's not all that pretty, really. In fact, it's really quite old, this key. They don't really make keys like this anymore. This one is the key from my garage. It's the only key for my garage. And recently it consumed my attention. Even though it is unpretty, I just could not stop thinking about it. Any ideas why?
I lost it.
Yeah, I lost it. Yeah, I lost it. And I could not get into my garage because I did not have my very ugly key next to help me. Have you ever lost anything? Something you desperately needed. And it might be car keys, it might be garage keys, it might be homemakers, it might be visas, it might be purses or wallets. And you know what it's like when you are just desperate for this thing. Can anyone relate to this? Are you feeling me right now? Anyone? Yeah. And yeah. And the weird thing about it is it changes the way you live, right? When I lost my garage key, I was going into rooms, and every place I went to, I was looking in the smallest crevice and cavity to see, oh, maybe it's in there. Every single place I went into, I'd be scanning to see if this key was somewhere, and it made no sense. Like I'd go to the toilet, and I'd look behind the bowl, because you never know, right? And it was never there, but I'd do it anyway because I was desperate and stressed and frantic to try and find this lovely key. I was scanning my memory all the time. Now, where did I see it last? Where was it? I don't know. Where was the last place I remember using it? And I'd be asking my family and they couldn't help me. And I'd be talking to people. And I'd be saying all the right things. Yes, yeah, I know, yeah. But I wasn't listening. Right in the back of my mind, I had this monologue going in my head. Have I checked there? Have I checked there? Have I checked there? I just wasn't in that conversation. So that is what happens. And it does not matter how big or small the thing is, if it matters, right? A small, ugly key like this consumed me for a day. And I found it eventually. Jesus was once hanging out with some people. The world called them little and last and the least. They were the deadbeats. They were the waste of space. And in fact, some people who thought they had it all together, they kind of judged Jesus. And they said, Jesus, why are you hanging out with these losers? And in response to that question, Jesus tells some stories. And one of the stories he tells is about a woman who loses some money. And she says, or he says rather, suppose a woman has 10 silver coins. And Jesus doesn't give us a name. We could just call her anything, I guess. Let's call her Helen, maybe. So Helen loses her coin. It's only one coin. She's got 9 left, but this coin matters to her. It's enough to feed her family for a day, and that's pretty big. It's a big thing. And Jesus says, doesn't she? Or isn't it normal that? Or wouldn't you in this situation? Or doesn't it make sense that she would grab a torch, that she would grab a broom and start pulling the house apart, working through every single cavity in her place? So Helen does this. She goes right through the whole house. She lifts things, she moves things, she gets rid of all the Lego boxes and looks underneath them. She shines her light in all the dark places. She pushes her broom in all the hard-to-reach places to try and find her lost coin. Is she thinking about the other 9 coins? No. It's not that they don't matter. But her whole focus is on the one coin that is lost. It's her obsession. She was like me with my garage key. And then suddenly, yes, maybe, could be, her light starts to gleam in something, and she reaches out, And she picks it up. It's a key. Amazing. Fantastic. Her coin. Not a key. But if you ever found something that you've lost, there's that sense of enormous, what words would you put to that? Relief, joy, peace. I can get to my garage now. All is right in the world, kind of feeling, eh? And this is where the story gets a little strange. Because Helen calls her friends. And she goes around to her neighbours. And she says to them, come over to my place. Because we're going to have a party. There's going to be music, there's going to be dancing, there's going to be good food, it's going to be an amazing time. All because I have found a coin that I had lost. And her neighbours, I don't know how they kind of felt about that. Maybe they rolled their eyes. Maybe they thought, people find and lose things all the time. What's the big deal? It seems like an unreasonable joy to throw a big street bash because of this. But I can picture Jesus finishing the story and looking at the eyes of these blokes who've been judging him and saying to them, you know why I'm spending so much time with these people that you have discounted? It is because they have been lost to God. And I am in the process of finding him again. And in the finding, there is over the top, unreasonable joy. I once took social anthropology at university. The whole idea of that is in terms of religion, is a human construct. We're reaching out to something that doesn't really exist, but we do it because we're human. But the truth is, and the Bible says, that it's the other way around. God is reaching out to us. God is reaching out to us. And as he does so, there is joy. And in fact, there's so much joy. There's a joy that echoes through every part of heaven. I tell you, Jesus said, there is rejoicing in the presence of the angels of God. That joy is no less yesterday than it is today, than it will be tomorrow. It's no diminished because it's repeated. It's joy that's over the top and abundant. But here is the twist in the tale. Because for me, my key, this can't really save itself, right? This is just sits there. For Helen with her coin, it kind of just lay wherever it was. But Jesus says, for those people whom God is searching for, they get a say in the matter. By turning to God, by choosing to, they are responsible for an over-the-top, unreasonable joy in the being that created the universe. Turning to God, living to bring him pleasure. And maybe it's strange to think that through your decision you can actually bring God pleasure. Isn't that incredible? And that might be something you might like to do. I'd love to chat if you do. But baptism is a symbol, an outward sign. It's a display, if you like. It's an attitude become visible of someone who says, I have turned to God. I am living to bring him pleasure. I'm walking humbly with him. I'm choosing to bring joy to God by the way I live life. And the confidence, Tyler, in these words of Jesus, is that you bring more pleasure to God than you will ever truly know.